Okay, so now we need to talk about the perimeter. Perimeter, you already know what that means, right? If you look at the etymology of a perimeter, peri means around. Meter is the meter, like measurement, length, right? So we know that perimeter means is the length around the shape. Okay, and here are some examples to find the perimeter. The first example is equilateral triangle where all three sides are congruent. So we have 3 centimeter plus 3 centimeter plus 3 centimeter. That's 9 centimeter. Be careful with the unit, okay? It's 9 centimeter. In the exam, I'm gonna ask you to find the perimeter or circumference. Then you need to make sure you put the right unit there. For example, like this and that, there is no unit. So you can just say that, using L or L, W, or SS there. So what shape is this? As you can see, all 4 angles are 90-degree angles. So it is a rectangle. In rectangle, perimeter is L plus W plus L plus W. So if I write that again, it's L plus W plus L plus W, right? If we combine them together like terms, we have 2 L's and we have 2 W's. 2 W's. You can write it this way, or you can factor 2 out. What's wrong with this? You can also factor 2 out. 2 times L plus W. It's not working really well here. 2 times L plus W. Either way, it's the same thing. Okay? For C, what is the shape there? It says it's 90-degree and all 4 sides are congruent. So all 4 sides are congruent, all 4 angles are congruent. We call that a square. And we have S plus S plus S plus S, which is 4S. Okay? How about this? You can add up all of these shapes together, the sides together. We have 5 sides, so it is pentagon, but not regular pentagon. It's irregular pentagon because all sides are not congruent. 3 centimeter plus 1 centimeter plus 3 centimeter plus 16 millimeter plus 40 millimeter. In order to add the length together, you need to have same units. So you can either change centimeter to millimeter, or millimeter to centimeter, which is easier for you. Either works. We know that 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeter, so we can change 40 millimeter to 4 centimeter, right? And 60 millimeter is 4 centimeter. So we have 10 and 17 centimeter, or change everything to millimeter. So 30 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 30 millimeter. Then you're gonna have 170 millimeter, right? Okay. Circumference. So this is also perimeter, but for the circle. So perimeter, circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. Pi is 3.14 dot dot dot. You already know about that, right? So if you think about R and D, we know that R is the radius. It's the shortest distance from the center. It's the same distance, equidistant to every point on the circle, right? So we have the same length here. From center to any point on the circle is all radius. We also talked about the chord. Chords are when you're connecting 2 points on the circle, right? You connect 2 points. Among those line segments, if it passes through the circle, that's the longest chord. We call that diameter. So as you can see, because it passes through the center, we have 2 R's. So D is the same as 2R. And here circumference is 2 pi r, but 2R is D. So we can substitute that 2R with D. So 2 pi r is the same as pi D. It's the same thing. Okay, you don't have to watch it. We just need to use 2 pi r, and you can solve for arc length. Okay, so remember the circumference is equal to 2 pi r, or that 2 times r is d, right? So pi times d. The order does not matter because in multiplication you can use the common rule property. Okay, so now let's talk about the chord length. Okay, this is not working really well. So if you guys remember about the chord, we have a circle, and we have a center, this is radius, whole thing from here to there, from this point to that point, going through the center, that's diameter. Sometimes you can make a chord, right? So we call this, this is an arc, right? And if we have arc measurement, it is angle measurement. So if it is, looks like a little bit bigger than minus, so if it's like 100 degrees, measure of arc is 100 degree. But I say length of the arc this time. It's not working really well. So length of the arc is different from measure of arc. Measure of arc is the angle measurement of the central angle of the sector, but length is the arc's angle length here. Okay, so we're gonna use the circumference, and if it is 100 degrees, and let's suppose this is 5 centimeter, let's figure out the length of the arc, this one. Okay, so how long will this be? Well, we're gonna use the proportion, so you can see that we use proportion a lot of times in this section, right? So we know that relationship between the circumference and the angle, right? So circumference is 2 pi r. Oh, it's not working. 2 pi. Okay, sorry for my bad handwriting. Okay, because I'm using my mouse instead. 2 pi r is the circumference. So circumference is length all around the circle. And how many angles do you have for that? You have 360 degree angles. Using this ratio, you can set up a proportion. Then what we are concerned is the length, only the part of the whole circumference, right? So the length, we don't know what that is. We need to find it. And what's the angle? For 2 pi r, for circumference, we have 360 degrees. But for this arc length, we have only 100 degrees. So you can set up a proportion like that. So I started from the length and degree, and length and degree, and so for x. In this case, our r is 5, right? So we have 2 times 5 pi, 10 pi, 10 pi to 360 is equal to x to 100. Now you can do inner and outer. 360x, multiply them, is equal to 10 pi times 100 pi, 100, so 1000 pi. To solve for x, you can divide it by 360, both sides. So your x will be 1000 pi over 360. If it says around it, you can use pi, in the calculator and calculate that. So if I do that, let's see what I get. 1000 pi. Pi divided by 360. It's about 8 point. 726 so about 73 centimeter. Don't forget the unit. Okay, so that's how you are using the proportion to find the arc length. Okay, the arc length. So arc length can be found as 2 pi r times central angle over 360, but it's another rule. I don't want you to remember another rule, but think about the proportion. Okay, that's so much easier. So here is another way, right, using the proportion. Arc length over circumference is the same as central angle. What I did here is using dot dot. So arc length to central angle is the same as circumference to 360. If you solve it, you're gonna get the same thing there. So here is a couple, 4 examples. So let's solve some of them. Actually, I can copy that and move it to my Jamboard. So you guys need to know how to solve these two, okay? So the first one, the circumference of a circle whose radius is 2 meters is what you need to find. So you need to find the circumference. The circumference is 2 pi r, right? So, and we are given the radius. R is 2 meters. So 2 times pi times 2, which is 4 pi. Just keep it as 4 pi. 4. Oh, guys, something's wrong here. It's not working. But I am writing 4 pi, okay? Don't estimate it. It's okay. I like to see this pi there because it's more accurate than rounded number. Okay, so skip 4 pi. B. The radius of a circle whose circumference is 15 pi. This time your circumference is given. So your circumference, C is equal to 2 pi r, is already given. C is 15 pi, it says. 15 pi is 2 pi r, where you need to find that r. So you can solve for r. How do we solve for r? You can divide by 2 pi on both sides. Right? So 2 pi gone. Pi is gone, and 15 over 2, it's 7.5. So r is equal to 7.5. I cannot write it there, so you can write that. Okay. C, the length of a 25-degree arc. So you have a circle and you have 25 degrees from the center. Okay, 25 degrees. And you need to find the length of that arc length of a circle whose radius is 10 centimeter. Okay, we can use the proportion. So you can use either dot dot is equal to dot dot and do inner and outer, or you can use the fraction. So I'm gonna show you a mix of those methods. This time I'm gonna show you how to use the fraction. So I see 25 degrees over 360 degrees, right? And for 25 degrees arc length, I don't know what that is, so I can solve for that, x. But for 360 degree, the length is 2 pi r. 2 pi r is 10, right? So 25 over 360, you can simplify already, or you can just do cross multiplication. So you have 360 x is equal to 25 times 10 pi. So it's 20 pi here. 20 pi times 25 degree, 50. 500 pi, right? So x is 500 pi over 360. Okay, you can either write it this way or simplify it. Okay, either one works. Just keep pi. It's okay. You don't have to change that to 3 point. Okay, so that's C. And let's look at D. The radius of an arc is what you need to find. So r is not given, and you need to find the r of an arc whose center angle is 87 degrees. And r is not given, 87 degrees. That's the question. And whose length, arc length is given, 154 centimeter, right? So we can use the same proportion again. So degrees, 87 degrees over total 360 degrees. To see part over whole, and part, the arc length is 154 centimeter over whole, 2 pi r. where we don't know what r is, right? And now you can just cross multiplication and have 87 times 2 pi r is equal to 154 times 360, and divide both by this whole thing, right? This whole thing by 87 times 2 pi. You are keeping that pi, so leave it there, but just work with numbers. So if you solve it, you're gonna have some number there, okay, over pi. Let's keep it. Okay, so let me actually see that. 154 times 360 divided by 87, 2. You have pi, keep the pi, and you have 318.62. About. So that's about the radius, okay, and that's it. Okay, so I gave you guys the study guide for the exam. Please study it hard, and all the materials are under my resources, under my CSC online, except the homework that is assigned to be due on Friday. Okay, a lot of problems from 13.1 homework will be on the exam as well. So study well, and if you have any question, let me know. Again, due to the weather and maybe unstable Wi-Fi, we are not meeting on Friday. Okay, so when is our exam? Our exam is on the 15th, Wednesday at 10:30. So I will see you guys all on that day. Okay? Okay, have a great rest of the day, guys. Study hard.